So day 6 of training camp, I would say a fairly good one for the offense. Defense had some nice moments as well. We'll show a couple of defensive highlights. And of course, right now, the most popular defensive player, Peter Woods, he had a very interesting moment today with Chiefs offensive guard Trey Smith. You guys don't want to miss this. I have the highlight clip for you to show later on. We've got a lot to get into. Before we go any further, I just want to give a big appreciation to everyone that's been watching these last few videos recapping training camp. The YouTube channel is really starting to pick up. It really is. We've had this for about a year or two. Started to focus on it last year, and it's really starting to pick up some steam this year. We're growing gradually. So if you guys really like what you see in this video, if this is your first time watching, please make sure you guys subscribe, give it a like, and let a friend or two know about it. And if you're new to any of my content, make sure you're following me on all of my other social media, Facebook, Instagram, X, where I put a lot more Chiefs content, as well as some NFL commentary out there as well. All right, little time to waste, so let's get right into it. Today was the first time that we got to see Xavier Worthy and Cyrus Allen since their injuries that occurred on Saturday. Now, these two did not practice today. They had their jerseys on, but no pads, no helmet, nothing. They were just by themselves going down the field and watch practice from the sidelines. But sticking with wide receivers here, Rashee Rice, a guy who has been very limited in practice. In fact, last week in training camp, Rice was not participating in any of the team drills. But this week, ever since the pads came on, he has gradually gotten involved during 7-on-7 drills. Yesterday, he had a catch during 7-on-7. He had a catch today during 7-on-7 here. So he is getting a little bit more involved as he continues to make his way back. Remember, he had that knee surgery just to get his knee scoped, nothing serious. That was in mid-May, and the timing of it could not have been any worse because that's when he went to go serve his 30 days in jail. But continuing with the wide receivers, Tyquan Thornton, who didn't really have the best practice yesterday, bounced back today with a really nice reception on a deep pass here from Patrick Mahomes. Had some fun with the fans, of course, here. And then you see Tyquan Thornton again. And this one's a really good play here by Patrick Mahomes, who is under pressure, dealing with two defenders in his face, Felix Anudike-Uzomah and Jack Cochran. And he finds Tyquan Thornton through the middle, and that is good enough for a first down right there in a first and 10, second and 10 situation. That is definitely good enough for a first down. And this play right here is very important for Mahomes to execute because, number one, I think it really shows the biggest indicator of where he is with that knee. Coming back from that ACL and LCL tear, you have to make sure you're mobile whenever you're dealing with defenders in your face. And guess what? Patrick Mahomes is going to deal with that in week 1 when the Chiefs play the Broncos. The Broncos have led the league in sacks the last couple of seasons. So for Patrick Mahomes to be able to execute a play like this in practice, that is what we need to see. Would like to see it couple more times in preseason games, depending how many he plays. Maybe it'll just be one preseason game, but would certainly like to see him get prepped in that area before week 1 against Denver, because that is going to be very important. So Tyquan Thornton, fairly good day for him. As far as other receivers that got involved, Jimmy Holiday had a nice grab yesterday, burning Noel Williams. Today, Jimmy Holiday had a nice play here. Kind of a crazy play. Chris Jones jumped. He was offsides. George Karlaftis, you can see on the other side of the line, beat Josh Simmons. So in a live situation, that would have been a sack. But Patrick Mahomes found a wide open Jimmy Holiday. So Holiday is continuing to get more looks here. Andrew Armstrong had a very busy day yesterday. Not as busy today. Got involved with the Chiefs, but not as much as yesterday. And let's go to the tight ends here, because this is a very interesting clip here. Now, as you see, there's going to be a completion to Noah Gray. But before we get there, look at Hunter Norzad checking in as an eligible receiver, just making sure the officials see him. So number 64, he's eligible, lines up as a tight end. And the Chiefs in this big set here where their only wide receiver is Jalen Royals, they get this pass quickly to Noah Gray here. So kind of an interesting formation. And look, I like Hunter Norzad. Ever since the Chiefs got him, I thought that was an underrated addition. He's played a couple of games in Week 18, once against Denver when they were fighting for their season so they can get into the playoffs where the Chiefs rested all their starters. Hunter Norzad didn't start the game. The regular offensive line started, but only for a series, and it was a 3-and-out. So Norzad came into that game. His snaps as a center weren't the best, but his pass blocking was tremendous. And the idea of getting Hunter Norzad more involved with this Chiefs offensive line actually does intrigue me. So I'm curious to see where this goes and how often the Chiefs will try to integrate that into their offense in games this season. So maybe we see it in week 1 against a team like Denver that's got a stout defensive line. So that remains to be seen. But let's stick with tight ends here as we go to the goal line here. Patrick Mahomes, look at this. Goal line situation, under center, play action, and a pass to Gray for a score here. This is what we need to see more of. You want to make defenders think you're handing it off to the reigning Super Bowl MVP, one of the best running backs in the league? No, you're going to throw it out to the flat and give it to Noah Gray for an easy score here. This is what we need to see more of. And I think here's my opinion on goal line situations. Whenever it's first and goal from the 1 or the 2, the one thing I want to see more than anything is a play action to a tight end. Because defenders never really see it coming. To me, in all of my years of watching football, it just feels like on a first and goal situation from the 1 or the 2, defenders always expect the run, it feels like. Now, on third down, they try to be ready for anything and everything. But on first and goal, right in front of the end zone, go with. I wish more offenses would go for the play action, because it just feels like you can throw off defenses. Defenses just don't see it coming. Again, that's just from my years of watching football, and I'm sure you guys have noticed that as well. So I'd like to see this in a game, and I think we will see it at some point. So a pretty busy day for Noah Gray. He had a drop earlier in practice as well, something that he's got to work on, but Noah Gray continuing to be very busy, and he's not the only one here. I want to go to Jake Briningstool, who has quietly been having a very good training camp. He makes a great effort here. It looks like he slips, but while he's falling down, he puts his hands up to make this reception here. This is a pretty damn good catch here by Jake Briningstool. I'm at a point where, okay, I want to see some Jake Briningstool in the preseason. What can he do when he gets his opportunity? And there's another guy that I want to see whenever he gets an opportunity, and that would be Jared Wiley, who's also having a really good training camp, kind of an under-the-radar training camp. Here's another play he made. He had a couple plays yesterday with Patrick Mahomes. Had a really good reception in the first practice of training camp. This is someone that the Chiefs really, really like. In fact, and I don't have a clip of this, but earlier in practice during 11-on-11 run-focused drills, Jared Wiley went out there and threw a really nice run block for Kenneth. I can't remember if it was Kenneth Walker or Imari DiMercado, one of the running backs on the team. And Tom Milvin, the tight ends coach, went over to him when the play was over, just, give him a fist bump, pat on the head, and really liked the block that he threw there. So Jared Wiley, I know, is someone the Chiefs really, really like, and they want him to kind of come into his own here. And I think, with him, having some things to prove in the preseason this year, I think Jared Wiley is a player to watch in these preseason games. We're getting to a point now where, okay, we're starting to learn about these guys in practice. We want to know, the guys who are shining, can they do it in preseason games? And Jared Wiley is one of those guys. Jake Briningstool, certainly another one as well. Now, we can't end the tight end discussion without talking about, in my opinion, the greatest tight end of all time, Travis Kelce. A lot of people talking about the fact that he's putting on weight and he's old and he's married and he's distracted by that. Listen, man, I don't know. This was a really good play by Travis Kelce today. Drew Tranquill, who, by the way, is also having a very good training camp. He was draped all over Travis Kelce on this play. Kelce makes a nice one-handed grab, pulls it in quickly so he can secure it. And Tranquill, who, listen, just played great coverage, could not have done anything more on this play. Here's another angle of it. I mean, this is just one of those plays where I think it's an indicator that, yes, Travis Kelce is 36, will turn 37 this season in early October. but he's not showing any signs of slowing down, or at the very least, a guy who should have stepped away. I think Travis Kelce is in for a good season. Is it going to be a 1,000-yard season? I don't know. And I've gone over this before. In 2024, he averaged 8.5 yards per reception. That's the lowest of his career. This past season, I think it was 11.2 yards per catch, which I think is the second or third lowest of his career. But it was remarkably higher than the season before. I mean, he had more touchdown receptions and more receiving yards. And by the way, he was top 5 or top 6 in receptions, yards, and yards after the catch. And mind you, because he had more yards and touchdowns than the year before in 2024, more in 2025 than 2024, to be clear, he did it on 21 fewer receptions in 2025. So yeah, 2024 Travis Kelce looked like a guy who should have retired. 2025 Travis Kelce, he looked like he was much younger. So, and again, it is practice. So we do have to temper our excitement a little bit, but I think Travis Kelce doing what he's always done his entire career, I don't think this is a guy that's really shown any strong indicator right now that he should have retired and stepped away. I'm excited to see Kelce for another season. I do want to go back to the goal line situation here. Obviously, they had that pass to Noah Gray. Here's another goal line play, and this is just Mahomes simply running it in. Nothing too difficult, and yes, it's practice. The quarterbacks are protected, especially with that bright yellow non-contact jersey, but we have seen Mahomes run it a few times. My two big indicators that Mahomes is doing just fine with his knee, because a lot of people talked about how he would miss maybe even the entire season given how late the injury occurred. He's had a couple of nice scrambles in training camp so far. And today, that play where he had defenders in his face dealing with pressure, that I think is the biggest play where he's dealt with 2 defenders in his face so far in training camp. And he was able to get it off and get it to Tyquan Thornton on that play. So the more we see things like that, I think just becomes a better sign that, you know, Mahomes is in a great place. This is not, it's not just practice where, okay, he's got the yellow jersey, no one's going to touch him, none of that stuff. Mahomes is in a good place. I still want to see a preseason game to see, you know, where he is, but man, I'm just going to say right now, Patrick Mahomes does not look different. If I went into a coma in mid-December, the day before the injury occurred, and I woke up at the beginning of training camp and started attending all of these practices, and if there was any way to cover up his knee brace, I would not know there was something going on with Patrick Mahomes with his knee from this offseason, having surgery and all of that. There's no way I would have even noticed that. He looks just fine. He does not look any different than he did last year or in previous years where he's really dominated the league. He's doing all the things that he has done in the past. So if there's anyone out there, whether you're a Chiefs fan or you love to be a Chiefs detractor, I'm telling you right now, because people love to make a big deal out of one bad play from Mahomes. Well, let's make a big deal. Let's bring the same energy for the good stuff. And listen, let's not even talk about highlights. I'll just tell you what the eye test, what I've seen. He doesn't look any different from previous years, really his entire career. So I'm excited to see Patrick Mahomes come back. I hope he gets at least one preseason game just to kind of get a feel for where he is. Plus, let's be honest, we miss Mahomes a little bit, so we kind of do need to see him just a little bit here. But of course, we know Mahomes has a new sidekick on offense, and that is going to be Kenneth Walker III, the reigning Super Bowl MVP. This is not the best throw by Patrick Mahomes. And listen, this happens with quarterbacks. They put balls in a place that, you know, the placement could have been better. But their receivers make great plays. And this is one made by Kenneth Walker, a running back, mind you. And listen, not to say anything negative about Pacheco and Hunt, because I'm a big fan of theirs and what they've done. Kareem Hunt with his second chance, and Pacheco his first couple of years, plus his backstory, everything that he's gone through, almost went undrafted and found a way to make a career for himself playing football. But I just don't think they're making this play here. This turnaround, quick grab, and quickly turning back around to keep moving forward on this play. I mean, this is a really impressive play by Kenneth Walker here. To me, this is a sign that this is why the Chiefs paid Kenneth Walker. This is why they're paying him $45 million on a 3-year deal. This is what you need from a running back like Kenneth Walker. And listen, having been at training camp last year and in previous years, I haven't seen the Chiefs utilize their running backs as much out of the backfield. Andy Reid's been known very well over the years to use his running back in pass catching situations. Did it with Brian Westbrook, Shady McCoy in Philadelphia. And here in Kansas City, Jamal Charles was utilized a lot coming out of the backfield. We saw it with Spencer Ware. I think it was in 2016. Spencer Ware was like a top 5 or 10 pass catching running back. I mean, that's something that Andy Reid does a good job of with his offense. We haven't seen that the last few years, though. And I think Kenneth Walker can be a top 5 pass catching running back for Kansas City. So I'm excited to see what that's going to look like with this offense. The under center, the play action, the usage of the running backs, the explosiveness that we're going to see and hopefully expect to see in games this year. I'm very excited to see. We've spent a lot of time talking about the offense. Let's go to the defense here. I want to go to Alohi Gilman, who had a pretty good day of practice. A good day and also a bad day. Kind of a mix here. And I've got highlights of both. Here's Gilman swatting a pass away, preventing a completion to Tyquan Thornton. Really good play by Kenneth Walker. I'm sorry, Alohi Gilman, just keeping his eyes on the ball and getting his arm around at the right place. Now, if you look in the backfield with the referees there, they seem to indicate that this should have been a penalty of some sort. Speaking of penalties, later on, during 7-on-7, Patrick Mahomes has Jalen Royals deep down the field, but Alohi Gilman, look at that. That's a jersey tug right there. I think we saw that in a Super Bowl, and people said it was controversial, but you see the refs throwing the flag here. I mean, listen, anytime you get a tug of the jersey like that, and that one is clear as day, that is going to be a penalty. And listen, let me just say this too. What is the name of the game? Think smart, not hard. If Alohi Gilman doesn't do that, that's an easy touchdown. In this situation, it's a spot foul, and the offense is going to have to try again to earn that score. Listen, you can take it both ways. I remember L'Jarius Sneed interfered with Jamar Chase on a New Year's Eve game a couple of years ago in the 2023 season. Would have been an easy touchdown for Jamar Chase, but instead he interfered with them. And so the Bengals had to try again to earn that, and the Bengals were held to a field goal. So, listen, you never know in those situations just how it all goes down. So, DPI caught there, but maybe that's a situation where you could have prevented the score in the next set of downs. Who knows? Now, I want to go to my favorite clip of the day. And I want your guys' opinion on this one. Comment below. Who won this rep? Look right here. Trey Smith versus Peter Woods. Everyone's talking about Peter Woods. Cyrus Allen got all the conversation the first few days. Now it's Peter Woods who's getting a lot of attention. This rep right here, Trey Smith wins the first part of it, but look at Peter Woods. He doesn't give up on the play, and he gets Trey Smith on the ground here. I don't know who won this rep. I guess we give a point to both of them. I don't know how this works here, but I love it, man. This is what training camp is all about right here. Peter Woods right now has a lot of Chiefs fans excited. And look, I will say this. I understand Mansour Delane was the number 6 overall selection, and I do have high expectations from him. And by the way, real quickly, I know a lot of people are expressing concern about him continuing to wear the yellow jacket. Guys, we are... I think we're less than just under 6 weeks away from the season opener. I mean, there's time. Let's not fret right now. I will still bet that Mansour Delane will be there in week 1. I think it's way too early to be concerned about that. If he misses the first two preseason games, I'll start to be concerned a little bit, just a little bit. But I will question things. But I've said all along, I think your most important draft pick, without question, is Peter Woods. Because a lot of people thought that Caden McDonald was going to be the best defensive tackle coming out of this draft and maybe the only defensive tackle taken in the first round. There were two defensive tackles taken. Neither one was Caden McDonald. Peter Woods was one of those two defensive tackles taken in the first round. And he's someone that has a lot of Chiefs fans excited. He's going out there. He's working against Creed Humphrey, Trey Smith. This is somebody who is getting coached by Joe Cullen. Oh, and by the way, if you haven't been to training camp and you plan to go to a training camp practice, man, pay attention to Joe Cullen. He's a lot of fun to watch. If you remember when Tim Crumry was on Hard Knocks many, many years ago, Tim Crumry and Joe Cullen share the same level of intensity, and I absolutely love it. It's actually a lot of fun to watch. But you've got Steve Spagnuolo as your defensive coordinator. You've got the right coaches around you. So I'm hoping that with all of the guys he's got to work with, learning from Chris Jones and Kyrie's Tonga, and he'll help guys like George Karlaftis and R. Mason Thomas, and maybe even FAU, who is getting a lot of reps with the ones. Peter Woods is going to help prevent a lot of double team situations for the defensive line. Chris Jones desperately needs that right now. So I'm excited to see Peter Woods and what he's going to deliver for the Chiefs. Now, here's another clip. We see Josh Simmons, your left tackle who you drafted last year in the first round, and Khalil Benson, who the Chiefs got as an undrafted free agent this year, and a guy who is continuing to see reps with the number ones. Jaylon Moore on day one of training camp was your right tackle, your number one right tackle. Since then, Khalil Benson's been the guy. And I'm making a big deal about this today for this specific reason. Today was day 2 of training camp with pads on. And I thought, okay, they're probably going to go to Jaylon Moore today. Yeah, well, Khalil Benson yesterday, Jaylon Moore today. Then it'll go back to Benson. No, we've had 2 days in a row of Benson with pads on. And in the 6 practices we've had, the last 5, Benson's been the number one right tackle in practice. And I'm starting to truly wonder. It's early. And want to acknowledge it's early. But I do think the Chiefs see something in Khalil Benson. And listen, Khalil Benson's been good in practice. I want to be very clear on that. But I think the Chiefs see some more things that we as fans don't see. Now, here's something that everyone needs to be aware of. Jaylon Moore right now is the 5th highest paid player on the team. He's got the 5th highest cap number with $18.6 million. Remember, he signed a 2-year deal worth $30 million, and this year the cap number for him is $18.6 million. Guess what? The Chiefs currently have just $3.8 million. That's not a lot. That is not a lot at all. And while depth is important on the offensive line, especially you cut Jawan Taylor, you traded Wanye Morris, the Chiefs do need to free up cap space. You have a couple options. You can restructure a contract from Creed Humphrey and or Trey Smith. But remember, the Chiefs have been restructuring a lot of contracts over the years. And the more you restructure, the more you kick the can down the road. And that does set you up for a bad cap situation in the future. Next year's cap is really rough for the Chiefs. And I'm not going to dive into the specifics of that right now because I don't think it's too relevant for this discussion. But for 2026, the Chiefs have $3.8 million in cap space. And if Khalil Benson ends up winning the right tackle spot, I don't think they want their 5th highest player riding the bench. This is not a cornerback who rotates with other players. If you're the right tackle, you're the right tackle. You're expected to play 100% of the snaps as long as you're healthy. And if you're wondering what the top 5 looks like, it's Chris Jones, Patrick Mahomes, Trey Smith, Nick Bolton, and Jaylon Moore. And right behind Jaylon Moore is Creed Humphrey. If the Chiefs trade Moore, that will save the Chiefs almost $15 million in cap space. Cutting him saves the Chiefs nearly $8 million in cap space with a $10.7 million dead money cap hit. I don't think you want to go the route of cutting him. You probably want to trade him somewhere. Who's willing to take on that much money, though? That I don't know. It would have to be a team that loses their offensive tackle to an injury. That might be a team willing to acquire. And listen, if you're the Chiefs, you're probably not going to ask much. You would be content with a day 3 pick even, perhaps. As long as another team can take him off your hands. And maybe it can be similar to the DeAndre Hopkins trade where the Titans and the Chiefs, when the Titans trade him to KC, both teams are splitting his weekly salary. I believe that's what the terms were, if I'm not mistaken. But anything you can do to free up cap space, I think Kansas City should strongly consider. Now, if the Chiefs, even if Jaylon Moore is your backup, and if the Chiefs, for whatever reason, say, yes, he is our 5th highest paid player and riding our bench, but we really, really want him for depth purposes, and we don't want to go the restructure route, then your only other option, I mentioned the top 6 in terms of cap numbers for the Chiefs. It's Jones, Mahomes, Smith, Bolton, Moore, and Humphrey. Who's right behind Humphrey? I'll be honest. If you gave me 5 guesses, I probably would not have gotten this name. It's Christian Fulton. Christian Fulton is the 7th highest paid player for the Chiefs in 2026. Jaylon Moore is 5th. These are 2 guys that might not be, your starting right tackle and your one of the 2 starting corners. I don't think that's going to be the case. You've got 2 guys in the top 10 of your salary cap that might not even be starters for you. So if the Chiefs really want Jaylon Moore to stay on the team for depth purposes, and you don't want to restructure a player, Christian Fulton's got to get traded. And trading him will save you $10 million in cap space. So what I'm saying is, don't be surprised if the Chiefs trade Moore at some point, especially before the regular season begins. I could see Moore getting traded during the roster cuts. And if it's not him, it's got to be Christian Fulton. And if they see some value in Fulton that we just don't see, then at that point you have to go the restructure route. And I think that is right now a last resort option for Brett Veach and the Chiefs. So we'll see what they end up doing with that. Last clip I want to show. Today was Alumni Day. A lot of former Chiefs were at practice today, and this was kind of a cool one. Travis Kelce was making his way down the field, but before he hit the practice field, he saw his former teammate and buddy, Dwayne Bowe. They exchanged a hug. A lot of people did not notice Dwayne Bowe was there until Kelce went and greeted him. That was a pretty special moment. Listen, I was a big fan of Dwayne Bowe coming out of LSU and the Chiefs drafting him and everything he did his rookie season. I mean, that was a really good year for Dwayne Bowe. I remember him being the best rookie receiver that year. And in 2010, that was a remarkable season. Got off to a rough start, especially with that drop in Indianapolis, but he finished the season with 15 touchdown grabs. He had several games, especially consecutively, where he had multiple touchdown receptions. I mean, Dwayne Bowe tore it up in 2010. And I wish we saw more of that in Bowe because he had that potential. It's unfortunate we never saw him and Patrick Mahomes work together because who knows what that duo would have been like. But that's for fantasy football, I guess. But it was really cool to see Dwayne Bowe back talking to Kelce. He went on the field at one point, as did the other alums. I saw the Chiefs put up something where it was Kelce, Bowe, Mahomes, Charkandrick West, and Spencer Ware taking a photo together. Several of the other alums, I saw Bowe chatting it up with K9, so that was pretty cool to see. So it's always cool to see these former Chiefs connecting with other guys that they did not play with from the past and also connecting with guys on the team today. Those are always cool to see. All right, well, that'll do it for this edition here on the Chief Zone on YouTube. If you guys like this video and you're new, please consider subscribing and consider giving this video a like, comment as well. For those, whether it's your first time watching or you've watched a couple of my videos now, let me know what kind of content you would like to see. We're starting to really grow on YouTube, gradually growing, but growing nonetheless. And I want to know from you guys, what kind of Chiefs or NFL content do you want to see on this YouTube channel? And again, a reminder, reminder, we do have the Chiefs Zone podcast. We stream that live and we're doing it frequently during training camp. Make sure you're following me either on here on YouTube or on my other social media accounts, Facebook, Instagram, X, where we live stream on all of those sites as well. I'm Farzin Vasugian. Thank you all for joining me. I'll talk to you all later.